Hey everybody, welcome back to the Time Pass podcast. This is your host, Ashika. Thank you so much for joining me today, you guys. If you haven't done so already, please like me on Facebook at Time Pass Podcast, follow me on Instagram at TimePass_podcast, and check out the YouTube channel where you can follow, like, subscribe, and watch all the episodes of the Time Pass podcast on YouTube. If you are an auditory listener wherever you are tuning into podcasts, please make sure that you are liked, followed, or subscribed on your listening platform of choice. You can also find the Time Pass podcast on ruckusavenueradio.com. Whew. I was stuttering a little bit getting through my intro. You know what's funny? Okay, sidebar. Guys, you know what's funny is when I first started the show 3 years ago, I would actually I usually have an outline in my notepad right here. You guys can never see it if you're watching on the show. On YouTube, you'll never see it, but it sits right in front of me as I record, and I thumb through it sometimes for my notes for the show. And I used to have to actually outline all the points that I wanted to hit in the intro. And then at some point I just memorized it, and now it's like second nature to me. But I notice sometimes because it's like second nature to me, I notice sometimes I forget certain things. And today I just could not say Time Pass podcast clearly enough for my own liking, but we got through it. Anyway, you guys, hi. It's summer and I'm loving it. We've had that hot weekend, and temperatures have gone down since then, so I've been spending a lot of time outdoors as much as I can. I'm actually spending most of my time out in my backyard, in my patio. I'm gonna be working out there later today. It's so nice, and triple digits are coming, but I like having little pockets of places in my home where I just feel completely ooh, this is my space. And a few weeks ago I did this show where I was like, guys, the house is a mess, and I finally cleaned it all up, and now I've reclaimed my space. And then I got the new couch, which is listen, I've taken a couple really good naps on that couch now. I've taken 2 good naps on the new couch since I've had it. Let me tell you, those are some good naps. It's just it's a wider couch, and it has cushions on the back that I can take off to make it even wider, and it's just I just snuggle into it. The last time I took a nap was it yesterday? Well, I didn't actually technically nap, but I think it was Friday. I fell asleep on the couch, and it was a good hour. And I was like, ooh, do I even want to go to bed? Do I even want to go in my bed? But yes, I do. I love my bed too. So I have these spaces in my home that I love. And I love making my home more me, making it more beautiful. I've talked about it on the show before. I go to the farmer's market. I buy flowers for the house, and I like to have flowers everywhere. Went to the farmer's market this morning. When I do that and I put, there's roses on the coffee table, and lilies on the kitchen table, and roses on the bar, and roses by my bed, or freesias by my bed, and roses in my kids' room. Listen, I love putting flowers in my daughter's room because she needs to know now she don't need no man to buy her flowers. Anyway, and she loves them. She's so girly. But I really enjoy my home space, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I have had such a hand in the way I've decorated my home, the colors on the wall, these cabinets, if you're watching on YouTube, that you see behind me. This is all me. I picked this out. Everything, right? Because I've renovated the floors, I've renovated the kitchen, I've renovated all the bathrooms. So this house is very much me. But guys, if you would have talked to me last Sunday, a week ago, I was legitimately like, I'm going to sell this house. Here's the thing. I hate it. Like, I cannot stand it, hate it when something goes wrong in the house. I grew up in Southern California. My parents got divorced when I was young, and so we always had like a maintenance person when we were living in apartments and things. Like, I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to do anything around the house. I am not handy, like, at all. This is like on a scale of 0 to 10 of handiness. I am like a 1. I could change light bulbs. I could change my air filter. I could change the batteries on my faucet because I had to have a super fancy faucet with a sensor. So I could change the batteries on that. What else can I do? I mean, I take the trash out. I can clean my house like a normal person does. I can like hose down, you know, the driveway and the porch and like the patio in the back. Like, these are things that I do, okay? If you want me to do anything more than that, sorry, not gonna happen. And let me just tell you this. Every time, it's about maybe once a year. Yeah, about once a year the batteries go out in my faucet. Because it's a sensor, it's like a touch. So you touch it and it turns on, you touch it, it turns off, which is really handy when cooking, which is why I wanted it. When it doesn't work, it drives me up the wall, and I am so pissed off when I have to change the battery, but I figured it out and I know how to do it. Shit has been going wrong in this house. And last Sunday was like the straw that broke the camel's back. I kid you not. So I have had a plum tree in the front yard. It's non-fruiting, but it's a little plum tree. And I believe it was originally, so my house was built in 1999. And I believe that was the original tree that was planted in the front yard. It's not much of a front yard, but you know, it's good for one tree. And it was big, and gosh, I loved it when it would bloom. Even though the blooms would only last for like a week, depending on the wind, maybe 2 weeks. But it looked so pretty, and I always looked forward to it. My daughter has, like, I remember, like, I took pictures of her one time and like snipped off some little branches with little plum blossoms. It's really cute. But that tree, so my last gardener, I asked him to trim it because it was getting kind of out of hand, and then I think he kept forgetting, and I'm like not around. I'm not around. Here's the thing. I'm so busy and social, and I have commitments that I don't really spend a lot of time at home. But when I do, like, I like my little spaces and I like to feel super homey and at home. But I wasn't seeing him a lot because he would come Friday mornings when I was at work. And I think one day I was just home and I saw him and I reminded him, I was like, hey, like, you gotta trim the plum tree before it gets out of hand, and then it's gonna be too big for you to trim, and then I'm gonna have to pay you more. And so he was like, okay. And then he trimmed it, but I think it was like the wrong season, and the tree like never recovered. So that tree, it's been 2, maybe 3 years since that happened. And I thought, like, the first year I was like, oh, well, maybe it'll come back next year. And then it didn't. And then this spring happened. And I was like, shit, that tree, like, and then my mom, right, she started getting on me. She's like, that tree's dead. You need to get it removed. You need to get it removed. And so she was like on me about it. And I knew about it. And I've had people come to the house, like knock on the door, like landscapers. And I'm like, hello? And they're like, hey, you want this tree removed? Like, offer to take it down and give me prices on it. But I just haven't pulled the trigger. And then my mom was here like a couple weeks ago, and she's like, hey, you need to get serious about taking your tree out. And I was like, what? What is going on? And so she told me there's like holes in the tree now. So she think that there's like termites on the tree. I don't know. And then she saw bees like living inside, and basically she scared the shit out of me. So I was like, okay, I will get the tree down. Tree down. So I had that. And then I've had issues with the house. Like I've always, you guys, it's too much house for just me and my daughter. I love this house, I do, and I've made it into like my home, but it is a lot of home. It's definitely bigger than two people. When I bought this home, and I've talked about this before, I bought my house in 2009, right after the crash of 2008. I bought this house for less than half of what it was selling for pre-2008. So it's a lot of house for a little bit of people. And that means there's a lot to maintain. Don't even ask me what's in my office upstairs. Like that, it's a disaster. It just needs to be reorganized, but it's a lot. It's a lot to maintain, and because I'm a single mom and a working mom and do all these extracurriculars and then also have, you know, the show and other things on the side, I've always had help with cleaning the house, and I always have like a house cleaner that'll come like once a month. And my longtime house cleaner, just like, I don't know what the hell, she just like got really unreliable during COVID. And so ever since then, I've had like other people come and go, and then I was just maintaining it for a long time because I was like, oh, I'll just maintain it. But here's the thing is, I'm more busy than normal nowadays. And so that's why it was such a big deal to me a few weeks ago when I was like, I finally got the house in order. Because I have OCD, right? I don't like my house. When I think, just to give you an idea, when I think that my house is a mess, people will come in here and be like, it's fine. But to me, it's a mess, right? Because of my OCD. And so I'm like freaking out. So I'm like on the hunt for a new house cleaner, trying to get all this done. And then Sunday morning, no, it was Tuesday morning. Yeah, Tuesday morning, 4th of July morning. My daughter, bless her heart, she's not home. Her dad has taken her on a short little trip up to Camp Arnold and the Redwood Forest with her stepmom and her half-sister. So they're on this little family vacation. And so she hasn't been home. So Tuesday morning was the last day on 4th of July that I had her before she left for vacation. And so I'm so excited because she comes home in 2 days. But she really wanted pancakes, and she wanted to sleep with me that night because she wasn't going to see me for a while, so I let her. And so, you know, we just woke up and we were like cuddling and talking and just having our little moments that we usually do in the morning of just being, you know, a family. And she, you know, I guess I've spoiled her in the way that, like, I'll always ask her what she wants to eat, you know, like, what do you want for breakfast? And whatever she wants, as long as I have it, I'll make it. Same thing with her lunch. When I pack her lunch for school, I'm like, well, what do you want for lunch? This kid has the most elaborate lunches. It's my fault because I want to be like that cute homemaker mom that has all the time and has all like the cute little recipes. So I find all these things on Pinterest and then I make them for her. So anyway, she wanted pancakes. That's like her favorite. Blueberry pancakes are her favorite, hands down. And I make a mean blueberry pancake, but we did not have blueberries, so she said, I just want pancakes. And when she's sick, I make her like Bananas Foster's pancakes. It's just, I don't know how that became a thing, but it was just one time she was really sick, and I think I didn't have blueberries, and I only had bananas, and so I made Bananas Foster. And then I told her, I was like, you only get these pancakes when you're sick. They're special. I think to hype up the fact that I didn't have blueberries, maybe. And she loved them, and so she calls them her sick pancakes. And so I told her, I said, you know, I don't have blueberries. I said, but I can make you your sick pancakes. And so she got all excited because she doesn't get those often, right? I don't even know why we're here, but we're here with the Bananas Foster's pancakes. So we shower, she's in her bathroom and I'm in mine, and then we get downstairs and I'm like, all right, you're gonna help me make pancakes? She loves to help in the kitchen. So she's like, okay, I'll help. And I was like, okay, we'll get the bowl out and, you know, and get the whisk out. And I walk over to my stove, and I have like a black stove. And so I walk over to it and I'm like, why is there water on the stove? I'm like, that's weird. So I like wipe it up, and then like a drip. And I'm like, what is going on? Where is this coming from? I look up at the ceiling and I don't see anything. And I'm like, okay. And then I look and I have one of those kitchens where it's like the stove and then the microwave is on top, and then there's like faux cabinets on top of the microwave, and that's where my exhaust is to take it out of the house. And the water is leaking from the bottom of the microwave onto the stove. And I'm like, that can't be good. Those are electronics. So then I open the doors to the faux cabinet above the microwave, and I see that the water's coming like from this, like it's leaking from above. What's above the kitchen? My daughter's bathroom. I'm pissed. So this happened 2 summers ago. I renovated all the bathrooms in this house, and right after renovations finished, my daughter used her shower, I think for the first or second time, and we came downstairs and there's a giant pool of water in my kitchen. And I was like, WTF. And literally water was leaking from one of the can lights onto the floor. And of course I called my contractor right away and I was like, bro, WTF is going on? So he came and he's like, it's an easy problem. I fixed it. So he fixed it, and nothing has happened for 2 years. But funny story, now it's happening again. So I'm like pissed because I feel like I want to trust people. When I hire contractors to do work, I want to trust that they're gonna do it properly. And part of that is because I am so unhandy, I need to have faith in the people that I'm hiring to work in my home. So I'm like pissed because I'm like, I have a sneaking suspicion that this is the same shit that happened 2 years ago. Thankfully, it's a slow leak, so whatever it is happening really slowly, but like, this is dangerous. And then it was like the tree, the cleaning service, and the leak, and everything was like, I was overwhelmed. I was feeling really, really overwhelmed. And my mom ended up coming over to have sick pancakes with us, and she was like sitting there, and I remember I was just like so upset. And my daughter was like helping me with the pancakes, and I remember I was like, she was talking, and I was like, I need a second. And I just like stopped doing everything and just like took some deep breaths, because that's how mad I was. I was so mad before I could finish making her pancakes. So I got her pancakes, my mom's over here. Now I'm like, I'm not even eating my pancakes because I'm sitting on the couch and looking for, like, texting my contractor, looking for somebody for the tree, looking for a house cleaner. Like, all of a sudden it felt like all these problems in the house were getting the best of me. And so I felt like I have to do all this now. I have to get all this taken care of now. And I remember my mom was like asking me questions, and it was the same thing. I was like, I need a minute. I was like, I need a minute, Mom. Give me a minute. And I heard my daughter whisper to her, because they were eating at the kitchen table here and I was over there on the couch. And my daughter whispers to her, she's mad right now. My mom's like, what is she mad about? So then I fill my mom in and I'm like telling her, and she's like, okay, well, just because she uses the same contractor. So she's like, just call your contractor. I'm sure he'll come and take a look at it. And I was like, I understand that he will. I was like, I'm just tired of it. I was like, I don't have the patience for this. Like, I just want to sell the house. My mom's jaw like hit the floor. She's like, what do you mean you want to sell the house? And I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to have to take care of these things. I really don't. And the thing is, I 100% don't want to. Like, when I was married, When I was married, I loved it because my ex-husband was handy-ish. He thought he was more handy than he was because there are certain things he tried to do and I was like, no, we're getting a contractor. And I miss my contractor who did my kitchen. God, I love that guy, Bob. Rest in peace, Bob. Bob was like an old like motorcycle dude, but he was so meticulous. I have had, you know how many problems I've had in my kitchen since it got done? 8 years ago? Zero problems in my kitchen. Biggest problem I've ever had in my kitchen is changing the damn battery on the sensor of the faucet. So, anyway, this is turning into a rant episode. I'm sorry. But the moral of the story is home ownership is hard. Like, I didn't have anybody to watch growing up, like do these kinds of things. And it just freaks me out. And I hate spending money on things that I can't see. I'll spend all the money I want on flowers every week and a brand new couch, on anything that I can see. I just bought a new welcome mat. Like, I'll spend money on things I can see and I'll feel good about it. But I hate spending money on things I can't see. And it's just in the back of my mind. I know, like, this house was built in 1999. I know my AC unit's gonna go. I'm surprised it hasn't gone yet. I'm knocking on wood, y'all. Because 2 summers ago it went out and then I had somebody come out and like do a tune-up on it and fix it. And he was like, good luck. Let's see how long it lasts. And it's been 2 years. Jesus, don't jinx myself. And I know my water heater's gonna go soon. So it's like, I know these things are gonna happen. And those are 2 like really, really big purchases. And then once you're done with them, you're good for years, right? I get that. But it's these little things that just like drive me crazy. And I just don't know. Like my mom is probably like the most mechanical one in our family. Like, my dad's not at all. He's not handy at all. Neither is my brother. Like, those 2 are like pencil pushing people. They don't know how to do that kind of stuff. Even when we had a home growing up, when my parents were together, I remember my mom was the one who would like do the lawn and stuff. Like, she would do that stuff. She's always been more mechanical brained, I think. Like, when I purchase things that need to be put together, I literally call her over to help me. Okay. When I call my mom over to help me like put together something, what that means is she's going to put it together and get frustrated with me, and then I'm just gonna like stand in the background and hand her things, and she's just gonna kind of do it, and she's only gonna ask me to help when she needs like more people power. I know this. I'm spoiled. It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, I put things together by myself. Don't get me wrong. But if it's something a little more complicated, I always like having my mom help me. So, you know, she's been the one. And then when my parents split, we lived in apartments, you know. So we always had a maintenance man. We always had a super. Anytime anything would go wrong, you just call and dude would come and fix it. And it's... I am thankful that like I have a good contractor. I'm irritated with that whole situation. But he's responsive, trustworthy, and like he comes over, like he was here yesterday fixing it, and I was like, bro, what time are you coming? He's like 8 a.m. and I was like, okay, you know, I go to the gym. Like, that's how long he's known me. I'm like, you know, I go to the gym on Saturdays. He's like, yeah, I'll work while you're gone. And I just left him a key and he locked up, and you know, he's fine. So it's I'm thankful that I have that, but home ownership is no joke. And this isn't, we don't have like a homeowners association here, but if you own a home and then there's like a homeowners association, that's even more of a headache, because then you have people that are like in your business about everything you do. And I think it's just hard. Owning a home is like a huge accomplishment, right? I was so proud of myself when I bought my home and I was in my late 20s. You know, I was super proud of myself. And I love this house. I really do. And I've invested a lot of money. All the renovations inside. I've painted the exterior. I've painted the interior twice. I got a brand new fence a few summers ago. You know, the pergola was rebuilt to be what I want, and it's got lights, and you know, I've invested a lot of money into this home, and so I love my house, but damn, I just hate it. I hate it when things go wrong with the house. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Sometimes I think about it and it's like, maybe renting is better, but I have friends who rent and they're like telling me what their, number one, the space they're renting and how much like square footage and rooms and things they have. And then they tell me what their payment is. And 80% of the time I'm like, bro, your payment is higher than my mortgage for my house. So I definitely understand like there's an investment in owning your own home. I guess I just am not the kind of person that likes it when things go wrong in the house. It's also probably one of the times where I like miss having a man in the house the most. Cause bro, like that's your problem. That would be me. That's your problem. Can you deal with this? Like, I'm not gonna deal with it. You deal with it. And I think I maybe that's part of the frustration because I'm just like, why am I dealing with this? Where's the man that needs to deal with this for me? But anyway, it's just, I was really pissed last Sunday and I was probably in a bad mood all day for a couple days. I feel like it ruined my entire weekend. And then I finally like started getting my shit together and I'm all about efficiency, right? So I scheduled everybody to come at the same time. So when my contractor was here yesterday morning fixing this stupid leak in my daughter's bathroom that's leaking through the ceiling, through the kitchen cupboard, the wood kitchen cupboards, through the electronic microwave, onto my stove. And then I had another group of guys working out front, taking down my plum tree. It's gone. And then I had people just stopping by like for the last couple days to look at the house and give me quotes on other things. So, I mean, I can get it done. It's just, it irritates me so much. And home ownership isn't all that it's cracked up to be. Like, I don't know. I think if you're a person like me who isn't very handy, it's maybe like a rent-controlled apartment or something. I don't know. I just get really frustrated when things go wrong in the house and I don't know how to deal with it. And it's a surefire way to like set me off. And I think like I've been mentioning this season a lot, but I think I'm just maturing with my anger now. So when I get angry, I just get quiet. I'm just like, I need a minute. I just need like to be by myself with my thoughts. Let me just like breathe through this so I don't pop off at anybody. So the last thing I wanted to do, like I know, that's why when we were making pancakes, I told my daughter, I was like, just give me a second, please. So the last thing I wanted to do was like pop off on her when she was leaving me for so many days. So I don't know, you guys. What do you think about home ownership? How many of you rent? How many of you own? And what is your pet peeve about home ownership? Here's some other things, okay? We've talked about what gets me pissed off. That's not even a pet peeve. That's what gets me pissed off. Bugs. I don't have a bug problem. Again, I'm knocking on wood in this house. But my garage, sometimes, especially in the winter is when I see it a lot. The crawlies will come into the garage and you never see them because they're like hiding in the day. But there was one day it was in the winter and I sent my daughter to go put something in the trash can or to get something from the garage because we use it, like as an extended pantry. I have like non-perishable things on shelves and I have cabinets in there. And she walked into the garage, and I was in here like cleaning up the kitchen, and screamed bloody murder. I literally thought there was somebody in my garage like trying to steal my daughter. And I freaked out, and I opened the door, and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like frozen and standing there screaming because there's like those little beetle bugs or whatever. Like there's like 2 or 3 of them on the concrete in the garage. And I'm like, why are you standing there? Open the door and come back inside. And so since then, like we saw, and then here, I'm like a chicken, you guys. So there was like a big cockroach that got into the garage, and I like saw it, and I was terrified, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And so I was talking to Fabian about it, and I was like, there's a cockroach in the garage, and he's like, why didn't you kill it? And I was like, I didn't want to touch it. He's like, you have to do this. This is part of home ownership. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, when are you coming over? He's like, are you going to make me come over to kill a cockroach for you? No, you're not doing this. And I was serious. So what I ended up doing, okay, I had like a bottle of, like, what is it? Like, Arm & Hammer or something, like a giant bottle of it, and it was in the garage. And so the next time I saw that cockroach, I picked up the bottle and I just dropped it on it, and then I ran into the house. And I left it like that. I left it like that because I knew that Fabian was coming over in 2 days. And so he came over, we were like hanging out in the house or whatever, and he was getting ready to leave. And I was like, hey, let's go through the garage. You can go through the garage. Don't use the front, which we always use the front door of my house. Nobody comes in and out from the garage except for me. And so he's like, what? Okay, whatever. And so he grabs his stuff and he's like, no. He's like, I know what you're doing. I'm not killing your cockroach. I was like, you don't need to kill it. It's already dead. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I need you to pick it up. I'm sorry. That's me. That's the kind of person I am. I would always call my mom when we had bugs growing up. Like if I saw a bug, I was like, Mom! And she would come and she would kill them. And so I don't know. I don't know. The best adventure that I've ever had in this house, because where I live, I'm almost on the corner. I'm the first house, the second house in from the corner. And right across from us is like a little like natural creek area with like grasses, and we get ducks and things like that. And so at night in the summer, if I sleep with my window open, it's a really nice serenade of like ducks and frogs and crickets that like can lull you to sleep. I don't need a white noise machine. But one time a little frog got in the house, and it was me and my daughter, and we were home, and this was years ago. She remembers it, but she must have been like 3. So it was at least 5 years ago. And it got in the house, and I was like, what am I going to do? I don't even know how we trapped that frog, but I trapped the frog and I let it back out outside. Like when things like this happen, the frog story is a good story. Like that's a good story. But like I freak out. I just don't know how to deal with these things. I don't know. I digress. Those are my home pet peeves. Little critter or jumping, creepy crawly intruders in my garage, or the case of the frog getting in the house, and when things go wrong. That's really what it is. So, I mean, I guess home ownership it's really fulfilling, but it's not all it's cracked up to be for me. Am I really gonna sell my house? Probably not. No. But if you asked me last week, would I have said yes? Yes. I don't know. that's all I've got for you, you guys. I just really wanted to share what is going on in this world and talk a little bit about home ownership and just tell you a little bit about my experience last week and my episode of anger. All right, you guys, if you haven't done so already, please like me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, wherever you are tuning into the podcast. Please make sure that you are liked, followed, and subscribed. Don't forget, you can check me out on ruckusavenueradio.com as well. If you enjoy listening to the podcast, you like my rants and other things that I talk about, please share this episode with at least one person. I would greatly appreciate it. That's all I've got for you guys. I will tell you, I do have a big deal to me episode planned for next week, so stay tuned for that. It's gonna be a big one. I'm really nervous because I'm actually putting in the work for the episode, and that work starts tomorrow. I'm really nervous about it. So stay tuned. Next week's gonna be a big one. I think you're gonna like it. We're gonna talk about fears next week. All right, you guys, stay authentic, even when you're angry and trying to kill bugs. Now I'm like looking around. There's no bugs in my house, okay? Just saying. Even when you're trying to keep a cool head about you to deal with your problems, stay authentic to who you are, and I will see you next time. Bye.